Okay, so please read through the instructions carefully. That's very important. I think I have a whole section, number 2, on expectations. Um, as I said in the syllabus, the project can be done individually or in a group of 2. I'm not allowing groups of 3, 4, etc. It has to be 1 or 2. Now, the catch is that if you do it individually, you have to do uh, sections 5 are the questions. So you do 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, and 5.4 if you're doing it individually. If you're doing this in groups of 2, then you need to do 5.52. So there's extra work for groups of 2. Okay, it's the same equations, but slightly more things you need to do. Now, this particular thing, the report for this project is due only via email, and I think I've put it here. It should be sent to me and the teaching assistant. The emails should be, let's see if I can find them. Maybe somewhere in the heart or in this expectation, it might be there. Yeah, there it is. So usually the TA will grade this, but you want to send it to me too, because I also save it. So in case he misses or something, I have a copy of it for me. But send it to both of us. Okay, so that's another thing. Uh, what this project involves is actually it involves everything you've done in the course except PD. PDs are not part of the project, but it takes you right from exam 1 all the way to exam 3. Okay, various things are tested. There is a coding part, there's a write-up. You do not want to do any part by hand, right? You don't want to get solutions by hand. You want to write code for this. You can use my code. In fact, I give you things how you can, what are the expectations about coding. So write up, keep it short. Don't write long reports. I'm pretty sure you don't want to write long reports. I actually we don't like reading long reports. Keep it short. It's essentially giving us some idea about what your code is about. And the code also has to be submitted. That's in the instructions below. Uh, Unlike last time, well, I did not allow ChatGPT in the project. This time you're free to use ChatGPT. If you think you can take the question and post it to ChatGPT and generate the answers, that's fine too. But when you're writing the report, you need to write it by yourself. Don't tell ChatGPT to write a report for you and then paste it. That's would be considered a violation. I think I've put it here. You may use you may not use AI tool, including ChatGPT, to write the report. Not just ChatGPT, but any AI tool. But you are free to use ChatGPT to write code, no problem. Okay. Please do not use ChatGPT to write the code. It's not very hard to to figure out if this was generated by ChatGPT. There's actually softwares which actually, if you paste it in the software, it actually tells you if it was generated by ChatGPT or not, if that write-up was generated or not. Okay, what the project is about? It's about an F1 car which is going on a track. The equations are given by this. This is actually a well-known model of a differential drive car. Well, not it's a model of a steering car. So the car which you drive with a steering wheel. This one, assume that the rear wheels are powered by a motor. That motor will spin the wheels, so you can control the velocity. Now, when you press the accelerator, it actually controls the acceleration. That will make a little bit more complex model. So I just had velocity. So you can choose the velocity, and you can choose phi, which is the steering angle, how you steer the car, right? And that determines how you go. So what I've done is I've given you a file. I think it's a mat file. I've told you how to load the mat file. It basically gives you a control history. That is, how did the person press the pedal and how did he or she move the steering. So V and phi. So once you have the history, you can actually integrate the equations to see where what trajectory the car follows. So that's your first part. Okay. Then, of course, I tell you how to integrate it, follow those rules. I tell you what plots to create based on your code, produce those plots. You should be that when you run the code, you get those plots, but you also take those plots, make a screenshot, or you can PDF the plots and put it in your report. Okay. Then once you do that, the second question asks you, how do you find the time at which it crosses the start line again? So that, again, I've given you some hints how to do that. The next, it asks you to compute the energy lost due to drag and the distance traveled, which is basically a formula. So integration is involved here. And then finally, I ask you to compute this is wrong. It's not, there's no jerk. It's only velocity. I'll fix this. It's only velocity and acceleration. Okay. And then I told you what kind of discretization use. If you are doing this as a group team of two, then it's actually actually an interesting problem. And the problem is, one thing which people get hired is to, if there's an accident, how do you reconstruct the accident? Who's at fault? Figuring that out is actually a job profile. Okay. And so this is basically my own created problem for that. So you're given the final position of the car. Let's say that was the final position, which you can get from GPS. And then you know the history of how the gas pedal was pressed, and you know the history of how the steering was moved. Because just like a black box in an aeroplane, there is something called EDR, event data recorder, which records it. Okay. Now I may not very certain that if this is done for every maneuver, but let's assume that it's available. So I give you that history, and then the claim is that the car, basically when it moved from a start position, it actually passed through two fences. One is blue, one is green. They are sitting on the X and Y axis. So you do not know where the car started from, and nor do you know the trajectory. So it might have started here and ended there, in which case it did not hit. It could have started here, here, here. I don't know. You need to figure that out, where it started from, what is the trajectory it took to end up there. And once you figure out the trajectory, you can figure out if the car hit the fence or not. Okay, so I think that's a fun project if you think of it as being a detective to figure out what might have gone wrong. Anyway, so